There's so many things that you can talk about. You can talk about how the Dems are a cult and Republicans are a cult. You can talk about Me Too. You can talk about how much Alyssa Milano sucks.
She really does suck. I had to keep that shit under wraps for so many years to not ruin people's childhoods. And I honestly held on for as long as I could. But no, not my kind of person. And a lot of people on the right, and hopefully a lot of people on the left, although I've not heard it voiced, despise Hollywood and the people in it for being false virtue signalers and who don't behave that way in real life at all towards people that are their underlings. I was discovered, so I don't and never did develop that hunger for fame. Right. And being on camera has always been like, no, I prefer being behind it. There are some great thespians out there, and they fully earn the word thespians. Right. I was I don't know what I could have been, really. And I think I would have reached the same conclusion that I would much rather speak for myself than have a man's words come out of my mouth with their perception of what I could be. And to be sold as a product is singularly pretty gross, to be honest with you. But a lot of people trade that because there is a fame fever. There's a weird fucking thing that overtakes a lot of them in Hollywood and around. There is a difference in, like the UK. I'm sure some of them have it, but overall it's not. They do study a lot harder. I went to one acting class. Right. I was like, I got so freaked out by the actors around me, but it was more like a fame crave. Because the teacher introduced me as like someone who just done their first film that was discovered and 2 weeks later starring in a movie, which doesn't happen, right? But it was what it was. I was like, sweet, I can pay my rent and not be homeless for the second time. So mine was purely mercenary, really. I just happened to be weirdly good at it. But I know I could have been fucking great if I'd not been blacklisted and assaulted and tortured psychologically, and by not just Weinstein, but most of the people there. And it was working with Alyssa Milano. It was just like, come on, you don't have to be addicted, and it's just embarrassing. There is an obtuseness, a willful obtuseness, and a complete out of touch with the world reality. And acting as if you're empathetic does not mean you are. And acting as if you're intelligent does not mean that you are. Right. It just means that you might be a bad actor.
I think she pulls off the empathy more than the intelligence, and I don't think she's empathetic. So that's kind of my diplomatic way of saying.
Oh no, I know her, and my judgment would be, I'm going to get a lot of shit for saying this, but somewhere on the sociopath scale, for sure. I don't care. Fuck it. I have a podcast coming out. Why I'm in the studio is called The Brave Truth, and you'll get little bon mots like that from me. I'm going to get in a lot of trouble. People be like, how dare you? Fuck it, man. I'm talking about two separate realities just because, and let me reassure all the Charmed fans out there, please give me a second to do that. My character loved her character.
Right, that's how good
that was my job, and I was good at it. I have to confess, the only times I couldn't is if my character had to say I love you, I would cross my fingers and put it under my butt. That's the truth of that situation. There was one step too far that I could not act my way through, and that was that. But I hold it down. I refuse to. I've had really dramatic, extreme situations happen to me in my life. I don't need to manufacture bullshit situations and problems to feel like I am existing and feeling and or using other people's pains and realities to maybe, it's like when a serial killer kills an animal to see if they can feel something. Boy, that was dark.
No, but
I actually didn't think it was dark. It actually made me flash back to Nip Tuck because you got killed by a serial
I was
killer.
on that. Yeah. That was, I accidentally dropped a leech on a lady's face, but she had bandages over her eyes in the scene, so she see that a leech was now stuck to her throat and chin because of me. Oops.
Wow.
It was alive.
Wow. It's funny because this is like such a perfect Milano anecdote, which is that her show is called Sorry Not Sorry, which is like the most that's the most candid she's ever been. Yes, exactly.
I think it's truthful for her.
Yeah, extreme. She's a totally she's being a truth teller. And her first guest, guys, you know who her first guest was on Sorry Not Sorry?
It was Biden, wasn't it?
Joe Biden, yeah.
And right after like Tara Reid.
It was right. It was after the round of like
it
Lucy
was right
Flores, like
that's
those
what
stories about how all these people were talking about how inappropriate he was. So Tara Reid had not yet come forward with that story, with the allegations of actual sexual assault. But he had, I mean, it was like he was well known at that point for being inappropriate with women. So the fact that you would just have a podcast called Sorry Not Sorry, and your first guest would be Joe Biden, and with Tarana Burke, she was the other guest, which I just thought was not really fair to Tarana Burke.
Tarana has a choice in the matter. She's not a victim here. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
She has freedom. She has personal choice. She didn't all of a sudden get there by not knowing who Alyssa Milano was.